What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about what work-life balance is like in Norway. So today, I want to take a look at this Reddit discussion where somebody asked, work-life balance in Norway. Is it a reality or a myth? Because Norway has a very, very good reputation for having really good work-life balance. And you always hear about how in Norway people are really, really happy. So they said people often say in Nordic countries, you have a great work-life balance. You don't work super late, holidays are respected, overtime pay, good job protection. While meanwhile in other countries that's not always the case. So I'm curious, is this actually true in Norway? For those of you living and working in Norway, what has the experience been with work hours, holidays, overtime, job protection, and the work culture in general? So here in the United States, our work-life balance is terrible, to be honest. Many Americans really feel like our job is our entire life. And so today, I really want to learn about what balancing work and life is like in Norway, what you guys think about it, how you guys do it, and maybe how America could do a better job at this. So let's take a look at some of the comments here, starting with, I tried working abroad in other countries, but once you've had Norway's 37.5-hour weeks, 35 point... In Norway, you only work 37.5 hours a week? Why so specific? So half an hour less every day? Because, in America, I think a lot of parts of the world, people work for 40 hours a week. In Norway, it's 37.5? Hold on. I have a ChatGPT open here that I'm going to use to clarify any questions that I have about this. So that's the great thing about AI now. It's scary, but at the same time, very useful for answering my questions about Norway. In Norway, the standard full-time work week is 37.5. It is a key way Norwegians maintain a healthy work-life balance. Usually 7.5 hours per day? Like 8 a.m. to 3:30? What? So this is normal in Norway? This is something I have not heard about. Whoa, and the maximum is 9 hours per day. I mean, where do I even begin? This sounds amazing. So 8 to 3:30, that would be amazing. Oh my God. In America, a lot of people work like 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 and it feels like your entire day is gone. When you work all the way to 5 p.m. and then you have to drive home, by the time you're home, it could be 5:30 or 6 p.m. It feels like your entire day is over. You have to get home, eat dinner, get ready for bed. It's really depressing. And I'm familiar with that. Whereas also, a lot of jobs in the United States, like doctors and certain jobs, you can work 10 hours a day or 12 hours a day, or there's really no maximum. There's some people who have to work 100 hours a week to make things work, to make enough money, or because their job is that demanding. And in Norway, it just sounds like that is not a thing, which is incredible. What is this? 25 paid vacation days, 10 to 12 holidays, 4 weeks off in the summer or July. This is okay. 5 weeks paid vacation? Yeah. Okay. I mean, this is not even close. Like, this genuinely makes me upset for the United States that other places like Norway are doing this and you're successful. Your businesses still operate. Everyone, things still work. I think in America, people are worried that if we don't work as hard as possible, things won't get done. And that's just not the case. And it'll drive you crazy. So many Americans are so depressed with the work culture that America has, where you have to work as hard as you can. You have to stay as late as possible so that you look good, and so the boss sees you working hard. And besides that, there's the benefits you have in Norway. 37.5 hours a week, 5 weeks paid vacation. In America, you would be lucky to get 2 weeks of vacation. Um, and you only have like 5 or 6 sick days, and they might not be paid. This is just. So, this person says working abroad really showed them how Norway really is great. Um, this is perhaps one of the main reasons I've not left Norway. And one of the main reasons having kids is an attainable goal. Yeah, like in America, you only get 3 months of maternity leave maximum, and you're working so much to survive, you don't have any time for your kids. Whereas in Norway, if you can get home, if you by like 3:30 or 4, if you actually have like a couple hours for the day to do things you want to do. I'm Italian. I've been working in Norway for several years now. I can confirm it's all true. Working here as a white collar worker is amazing. I have worked in 3 different countries in international environments, and Norway is the best when it comes to work life balance. Wow. So I'm curious, like in Norway, do you guys know how good you have it? Or I would think it's just normal in Norway. It's just normal to be like this. So I'm here to say this is amazing. Like, you guys have obviously got this figured out. This the work culture is so deeply ingrained in American life. I don't see this changing in the United States anytime soon, unfortunately. It is even better than Sweden. I don't think Norwegians realize how good they have it. I love my job. The pay is great, and the work-life balance is the reason that I stay in Norway, despite the weather. Wow. I recently became a mother, and thank the universe I live in Norway. I don't know all the child benefits that you have in Norway. I know you have a really long. You can get off work when you're having a child for like a year? Is that right? I just can't even imagine getting to leave work for a year. Like in America, you would get fired. There's just no way. In America, they get mad at you for taking like 3 days off in a row. They get upset. They're like, ugh, the boss like rolls their eyes like, ugh, all right, but it has to be, you have to plan it out a couple months from now and get everybody ready for when you're gone. In Norway, it said you guys are gone for 4 weeks out of the year, all at once, right? This is definitely true. I am Dutch, working in Norway for 5 years, and there is an impressive difference, both culturally and socially. I am Norwegian. I feel like I have it so good. I'm at a big country. 36-hour contract? 4 days a week? Huh? Think you have to look far to find. You'd have to look really hard to find a 4-day week. Yeah, is that a normal thing in Norway? Don't tell me you only have to work 4 days a week. There's no way. For me, that is such an insane work life balance improvement. Yeah, I mean, this would blow Americans' minds. This is so radically different from what we have here. And unfortunately, in America, we have accepted our situation where work when you meet somebody in America and you talk to them and you meet them, the first thing people ask is, "Oh, what do you do for work?" That's like how we identify ourselves. And for a lot of Americans, work, if you get up and leave at like 8 a.m. or you have to leave earlier to get to work, like 7, you get home at like 6. What it's 6, like, there's no time to live. You just live on the weekend for a lot of people in America. Aussie here, I was stressed out of my mind working crazy hours. I moved to Norway and my boss sends me home? Totally different culture? What do you mean my boss sends you home? Like, what do you mean? What does that mean? Your boss lets you go home early? I'm very happy with the switch. I work really hard in my core hours and I have my own time for me. That is the crux of this whole thing, isn't it? A lot of Americans, I've talked to a lot of Americans, and on the internet you can see a lot of Americans feel like they can get all of their job done in just a couple hours and then spend a lot of time at work doing nothing. It depends. Like if you're working in customer service, then you're constantly talking and interacting with people all 8 hours. If you're working a desk job at a company or corporation, or and there's only so much you can do every day, there's no reason to just sit there at your desk doing nothing. But in America, they would never let you go home early from a real job. No, ever, never. No, that is considered very lazy. It means you don't want to be there. You don't want to work there. It's an insult. You look bad if you even suggested leaving early. That's a big deal. You have to ask for permission. And I'm from France. I've been in Norway 20 years. It's all true to a certain extent. Many places do not follow laws and regulations. The ideal white the ideal job in Norway is a white collar job until you reach the higher ranks. Once you have enough responsibilities, hours do not count anymore, and the salaries for higher levels tend to be lower than other countries? Huh. Interesting. It's a little confusing what they're saying, but they're basically saying most of this is true, although is some variation in Norway depending on where you work. I worked in England before working in Norway, and there's a huge difference for me. I get an extra hour a day off in the summer. Wow. The main difference is how your output is measured here more than how many hours you're there. That makes so much sense. Like, and I kind of explained already why that doesn't work in America. We value hours. And, how much you contribute, of course, but really, the only thing employers should care about is how much you're contributing, your output, how much work you get done, how much results you see. Who cares how long it takes? It doesn't matter? Well, in America, it does matter. People that is just our culture. And even if it doesn't even make sense. I also find that people are much happier to help here because there isn't a climb over each other culture. Very good point. In America, we have a culture of you have to win. You have to be the best. That's what we're taught as kids. You have to beat everyone else. You gotta climb over people and beat them and get the promotion. And that is our culture, for sure. And, it produces some good results. It gets people very motivated to be the best, which can be good. But obviously, there is a balance. And I think America has gone too far. And we have forgotten, people need to be happy. You have to have a life outside of work and not just the weekend. I'd say it depends on the job. I've worked places where 150 hours in 14 days was common. So that's 75 hours a week. So there are some jobs in Norway where it's extreme, it sounds like. Although that is against the law. But it still happens, I guess. Wow. And I've worked in places in Norway where you could basically leave whenever you want. Whoa. In construction, there's a crunch. Mostly laws are followed and people have good benefits. The place I've worked, you're expected to pick up the phone on the holidays or evenings if it's crazy. Well, in America, for a lot of jobs, you have to respond to emails even when you're at home, or you it's like you never leave work, which is horrible feeling. Horrible. I work in healthcare. There's no work-life balance here. So in Norway, that is, I mean, I think anywhere in the world, healthcare is one of the most demanding jobs. So that makes sense. I worked for 14 years in Italy before moving to Norway. It's not a myth. The first period can be quite shocking. You almost feel like you're stealing money from your employer because of how like loose everything is and how much space you're given and how you can leave work early, and I mean that's amazing. It sounds amazing. The bottom line, it sounds like in Norway, if you get your job done, nobody really cares how many hours you're working, which is such a huge problem here in America. I think that's the biggest problem I noticed here. Also, in America, we lack a lot of the benefits that you guys are having with vacation and sick days and getting like to work, go home earlier. We don't have that stuff. And man, Americans would appreciate this stuff so much. But the way that we're set up, the way that companies have so little government oversight here, it's just not going to happen. So it's a bit sad to even read about how amazing things can be. Um, and I don't know, maybe eventually somehow America will change in some way, but I'm not holding my breath on that. But it was really, really cool to see how Norway does work and life balance very differently and clearly better. That's for sure. So anyway, if you enjoyed this, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on working in Norway, especially if you have ever worked in Norway and you know about this. Feel free to give your thoughts on this. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Norway and learning about Norwegian things I've never learned before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching and see you next time.